this was in 2019, as from asking my wife. And I was driving home from work. I work in Richmond, and I was on my way to Jackson. And when I got right about halfway in between, right after Stanton, come around the corner, pulled off to the side of the road because I saw something walking, standing up. It was very, very tall, ape-like, arms swayed. But when I pulled off to the side of the road and it kind of looked back at me, I could tell that it had a muzzle. It looked more like a bear than anything else, wolf or anything like that. It looked back at me, and when it come back around, it took off like a jaguar, just floating across the grass, just as quick as I've ever seen anything. And it was gone in probably 3 or 4 seconds.
How far away was it from you?
It was probably about 150 yards away.
And you stopped your car. Did you get out of the car or did you stay in the car?
No, I didn't get out of the car.
Stay.
As soon as it was gone, I was on the phone with my wife. I was shook because it scared the crap out of me. It really did. It was huge.
And what makes you think it was not a bear or not a person?
Well, I'm from Harlan County. I've seen countless black bears. I go with my grandfather on four-wheelers and look for them. I know what they look like. It was not a bear. And I've seen cats too, and I know what the cats look like, and it wasn't some form of that either.
Mm-hmm.
It was tall. It swayed when it walked. Its arms moved, and when it took off like a panther gait, where 2 feet, 2 arms were hitting at one time, and it just flew across the grass.
So when you first saw it, was it walking upright?
Yes, away from me. Yes, and arms swaying.
So it was walking on 2 legs at first.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it walk on 2 legs?
It was 2 or 3 seconds. Once I pulled off to the side of the road, I think it heard me.
And what color was it?
Brown, dark brown, almost, you could almost say black, but it was definitely brown, like a really, really dark chocolate brown.
Now, when I first talked to you on the phone, you mentioned something about the body.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe the body again?
Well, the body was very muscular, like a bodybuilder, like it could rip you apart if you wanted it, but it was huge. And then it went down into, and it was definitely a humanish. It walked like a bear doesn't walk like that. It walked,
Right.
100%.
Could you see anything else like a tail or ears?
No, I didn't.
No. And when it ran away, you said it was fast.
Very fast, like a cheetah.
Like a cheetah.
Yeah.
And where did it go when it ran?
Straight to the woods. It was out in front of us.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to think of any other questions that I might have. Did you sorry, there's an ATV.
Yeah.
We are in Kentucky, so we have ATVs everywhere. Who did you tell right after you saw it?
I got on the phone with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've told one other person, and that was a guy I work with. And I only told him after he started talking to me about some of the stuff that he has heard and seen. And he's huge into this. And he sent me tons of podcasts afterwards. And my wife has always been really into it. And I've always been the kind of person that's like, okay, whatever. All right. I was never the person that was, yeah, they're out there or whatever. No, I am now.
Yeah, I can see why. Now the muzzle. I know this is a great distance. Can you guess how big the muzzle was?
It was about the same. It wasn't very, very long. It was more like a bear muzzle. It was a little shorter, but it was still there. It was definitely there.
Right. And the body, you keep talking like it was humanoid. Could you see shoulders or the leg?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole thing swayed when it walked.
Mm-hmm.
The arms was moving, swayed. You could tell if it's what I would imagine somebody in an ape suit, or a very muscular person in an ape suit looked like.
And how long were the arms?
They went farther down than ours would. Um, they were huge. I know they were huge.
Yeah. And the legs were, describe the legs.
Very, very, very muscular.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen Game of Thrones, but kind of like the Mountain. If you've seen the Mountain on Game of Thrones,
Right.
how big he is,
Yeah.
just muscular all the way down.
Yeah. Big.
That's what it was like.
So this had to be pretty significant for you to stop your car and look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm used to, if you see deer on the side of the road, I'm a hunter. If you see deer on the side of the road, you see bear on the side of the road, you kind of pull off and you look at them. You try to, if you can, you're not disturbing them or something like that. So I thought at first that this was a bear, like a bear standing up, and I was like, oh man, they're already over here, because I've been in Harlan County and they've been there for years. And when I pulled over and it was walking, I instantly knew that it wasn't a bear, and I was just kind of shocked. It was kind of struck dumb for a minute. And then when I pulled over and looked away and it took off, I was scared because it was fast.
Yeah.
If you fast.
And the hair, do you recall how long the hair was?
No, it was shaggy like a bear, not really really long. It looked
Right.
more like a dog, like a bear or a dog.
Short
Yeah.
haired.
Yeah.
But again, very muscular, shoulders, long arms.
Yep.
Not big and fat like a bear.
No.
Walking on two legs, which bears don't typically walk too far on two legs. This was walking at first, which is odd, and then it looked back at you. I wish I had that sighting. Yeah, it might have been a Dogman.
Yeah.
More than a Bigfoot, because Bigfoot have prognatheism. It's a little bit, but if you saw a muzzle at that distance, it kind of fits the Dogman category.
It does sound like it. Do you think it saw you?
Oh yeah, that's why it ran. I think it was fine until I pulled off, and maybe the rumble strip or whatever, but it definitely it heard me, turned around, looked at me, and then took off. It didn't wait long enough to actually check and see what I was, but it saw me and took off.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think you might have locked eyes with it?
No.
Too far away.
Yeah, and I'm inside my car, and it's daylight. Yeah, there's no way.
And then there's another incident. You were in the gorge with your family, and it was about it was a rock throwing incident.
Yeah.
Can you describe what happened?
It's like this one. I know because we had a 1-year-old at the time, and it was our first. It was about 14 years ago. We're walking out, and where we're walking on the trail, there's some cliffs in front of you that you can go, and when you're out on them, you can look back and see the actual the rock, the bridge itself, and then come back. Well, on the way there, we felt a presence, but more than that, we had rocks thrown at us. And when I walked away, my wife was back a little bit. She actually had like a bigger rock thrown at her, and she kind of hollered at me to hold up, and we went out there for just a little while, and then we turned around and went back because it felt like that we weren't out there by ourselves, and the parking lot was empty. There was no other car there.
And your wife had your daughter on her back.
On her back, yeah.
And she was here earlier, and she mentioned she kind of thought that because she had the daughter in the back, it was like a warning not to get too close to the edge.
Yeah.
Like maybe it was protecting you in this case.
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt too. It's like, hey, get the baby away from the cliff. You don't need to be over there. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the area you're talking about. There's no cliffs.
Guardrail.
There's nothing above you either where rocks could roll down.
No.
Because I know where you're talking.
No, it's flat.
So it had to be thrown because there's nothing above you. Because I know exactly where you were. So that's odd that rocks would be thrown. We have other incidents of rock throwing in the gorge as well. So, all right. Well, I thank you so much for the interview. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.